Okay, cool. Okay, I think it's recording. Yeah, it says it is.
It
Um,
is. This is playing on my screen too.
okay, cool. Let me see the questions. Okay, so Olivia, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Like, what mental disorder did you have, and then since when?
Okay. So I have been struggling more so with depression since I was about 10 years old. So it's been about 10 years with it.
Wow.
Um, yeah. In this last year or so, I've had more issues with social anxiety,
Mm,
but the depression is still definitely there. It's not as bad as it was probably up to about 3 years ago, but it still has, the episodes
mm-hmm.
of coming and going.
Okay. And then, okay, what have you done to cope with your depression? Have you had
Um,
any therapy, psychiatrist, anything like that?
Yeah, actually, I've had both. I didn't start to get help until I was about 16, so 6 years into having depression.
Wow.
But when it when I first started getting help, I went and I saw a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to her for a while, and then she was like, "I sometimes therapy doesn't help alone, so I'm going to recommend that you
Mm-hmm.
go see a psychiatrist." So I did go see a psychiatrist, and she prescribed me antidepressants.
Okay. What do you think helped the most, or was it just a combination?
Um, The antidepressants I wasn't a huge fan of because while yes, it made me feel less sad, I also
Mm-hmm.
kind of felt less everything else.
Yeah.
It just didn't really if instead of like the depression being up here and it brought it down, it just kind of brought everything down with it.
Mm-hmm.
But so the like face-to-face therapy, I had a really great
Mm-hmm.
therapist. So I think like the face-to-face therapy helped a lot more than the medication did.
Okay. And then what about social anxiety? What do you do for that?
Well, I kind of haven't done anything about it because I did go last year. My university has a group therapy that you can go to.
Okay.
So I was supposed to go to the group seminar about social anxiety, but then I got social anxiety about
Oh
going
my
to the
God.
group seminar. So I didn't, because like the idea of going and sitting in a group of like usually, like I'm an open
Yeah.
person. I don't have
Yeah.
like anything like that, but the idea of going and sitting in a group of people and saying, "Hey, I'm scared of groups
Mm-hmm.
of people," didn't sound the most fun. So
Okay.
but so I made the attempt to do that, but I didn't actually do that. So kind of I've done nothing about social anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of haven't needed to with COVID since I don't really
That
get to
is
go out and
true.
see people much. So
Mm-hmm.
it hasn't been a huge issue this year, but when it is its issue, I kind of don't do much about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what do you think caused your depression when you were 10?
Oh goodness. So I think you know this actually, but
Yeah.
I have always felt homosexual tendencies. Um, I've come to terms with it that I'm mostly bi now, but I felt um, a little gay since I was like young and a little gay, but I felt that way since I was young and
Mm-hmm.
growing up in a religious environment where
Mm-hmm.
I was told that like people like me were going to hell for it. Hearing that at the church I was forced to go to and hearing that from my parents just
Oh God.
like started the whole self-hatred thing and depression.
Mm-hmm.
From the earliest I can remember it as being 10 years old, maybe 9
Mm-hmm.
if I were to stretch it, but it's just growing up feeling that way and then being raised in an environment that adamantly did not accept me feeling that way.
Mm-hmm.
So that fucked me up a bit.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about the social anxiety? What do you think caused
Um,
that? Was it like more college and being a big change or what?
I think it was high school theater, honestly.
Really?
Absolutely, because I would
Why?
go because at first in high school I wasn't like super afraid of like being myself and like
Uh-huh.
doing my own thing, but then I joined theater and I was being myself, and people were saying like, oh, you're annoying, or oh, you are kind of a shitty person to hang out
Oh my
with,
God.
or we don't like hanging out with you because like you're weird. So that put the idea in my head like, oh, so in order to be liked by people, I have to not be myself.
Oh God.
So that just kind of, and especially having to like go to college where I'm now having to meet new people, it's like, okay, do I be myself and have the same response I did in high school, or do I just try to like fit in according to whatever group I'm trying to be a part of? So it's a bit of an identity crisis too, but it's definitely like, I'm not sure how to act and not be instantly rejected in social situations.
Olivia, remember, you are the main character,
I
okay?
know I am. No, I know I am. I've been told that about a lot of people, that I'm very main character, but still, I'm a sad main character.
Yeah, I know it's hard. I felt like a little social anxiety at the sorority house, but
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
it's just,
Especially sororities. They're very like, not judgmental, but there is definitely a standard you have to meet
yeah,
for them. Yeah, I'm sure it's a lot of pressure.
yeah,
I
and
couldn't do
there's
it.
so many different personality types. You don't know like
Yeah,
which one to talk to or which group to hang
absolutely.
out with. Yeah, I get that. So I know you've used VR, but I'm just gonna ask this. Have you ever used virtual reality?
Yes, I have. I have used virtual reality. Why
Okay,
is that a question?
because the project that I'm doing is how to enhance virtual reality, and our group came up with using virtual reality to help mental disorders like illnesses.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we were either thinking like exposure therapy or maybe like positive affirmations, like
Okay,
or
I
maybe
think that
like
could help
mhm.
more so with the social anxiety, probably.
Yeah, with like getting exposed to that and just like
Yeah.
okay.
That's
So
interesting.
yeah. What virtual reality did you use? Was it like Samsung or what was
Um, it was more so like just the headset, and like I
mm,
would download an app on my phone and then I would
mhm.
put it into the headset, and that's what it was.
Okay.
So it wasn't like an actual like set. It was more so
Mhm.
just a device that let me do it on the apps that were available on my phone.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Did you ever get like headaches or dizzy from any of the virtual reality simulations?
No.
Okay, that's good to hear. Because we're like, wonder what we would do about
No, a
that.
lot of the ones that I did, it was the kind that where it was like the really calming scenery. So
Okay.
I would just do like the like, oh, here's a forest in Montana, like here's the national park, and I would just put it on and like lay back in
Mm,
bed and just like
yeah.
look around the Grand Canyon.
Wow, that sounds so nice and relaxing.
Yeah, it was actually really nice because it had like the sounds with it and everything.
Yeah, that's kind of
It was super nice.
therapeutical too.
It was very calming.
Huh.
But I didn't do any of like the games or anything. It was always just, okay, I need to
Okay.
like unwind or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then, so you said you would use virtual reality to cope with your disorder if it was like less
Yeah, like if
costly.
there was a program for it, and
Mm-hmm.
if it was what?
Oh, it froze. I was like, maybe
What'd you
if it
say?
was like less costly or like maybe implemented or
Um, maybe maybe the price would be a thing, but like it's more so like, okay, does this work? Has this
mm-hmm.
like helped other people? More accredited than price
Okay.
wise.
Okay. And then would you consider more exposure therapy or positive affirmation therapy?
Um, Probably positive affirmation therapy because I'm not like, I'm a psychologist,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't personally believe exposure therapy super works.
Mm-hmm.
However, in the terms of virtual reality, it might work because it's exposure, like it's
Mm-hmm.
the simulation, but it's not
Real.
actually, yeah.
Yeah.
So my first instinct is to say no, exposure therapy wouldn't work, but in the sense of virtual reality, I think it probably could.
Okay, that's good to hear. And then, do you have any suggestions or feedback for using virtual reality as a helpful tool for mental disorders
Um, I do have
or
a question about
suggestions?
it,
Mm-hmm.
actually. So when with this virtual reality program, the exposure that you're getting, would it be actually other people who are also using the same virtual reality program? Or would it just be like a simulation of like artificial intelligence?
Mm-hmm. We were sort of thinking a simulation, but that's a good idea for like maybe I don't know how it would work with actual other people. Like would one person be like the bad person or are you guys dealing
Well,
with it all together?
for like
Mhm.
when you say like virtual reality, especially for social anxiety, I imagined it as being like a group therapy kind of thing.
Mm.
Like it was other users that are
Mhm.
like in the group therapy, but it's
Mhm.
not actually like them in the physical form, so therefore it's
Mhm.
a little easier to cope with. But
Mhm.
that way you're like getting used to you're getting the exposure therapy, but not with the insecurities that come with like being face to face. So
Okay.
I think if you're going to do exposure, especially for social anxiety, more of a interactive kind of thing, I would say.
Mhm.
Because if the big issue with social anxiety is other people,
Mhm.
then I think using other people would be helpful without
Mhm.
using and like including the elements that make them so anxious about it.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good comment because you said you like got anxiety from going to the group therapy and then just having it virtual
Yeah.
reality, it makes it a little bit more anonymous.
Yeah, and that makes it easier for me to want to do it. That gives me
Mhm.
more motivation to do it. Because a
Okay.
lot of what comes with the social anxiety is being scared of like being perceived and seen by other people and
Mhm.
just judged by that. But if it's all a virtual reality thing where
Mhm.
I'm getting the same information without feeling the not the setbacks, but without feeling the insecurity that comes with it, I
Mm.
think that could be super helpful.
Okay, that's a good suggestion. Okay. That concludes our interview. I'm going to stop recording.
Okay.